You're not ready for this one.
First of all, something ridiculous happening. They all want to know what your middle name is. There's some sort of thing going on here.
Oh, it's pretty good. So it's my dad's middle name. Got it from my dad. And it starts with a B as in boy. Anybody can guess?
Bradford.
Bradford.
Bradford?
Barry.
Brian.
Barry.
Brian?
No.
Boyd?
Basketball.
Bannister.
No.
Something odd.
B-U-R-T-O-N.
Burton.
Michael Burton.
Burton.
B-U-R-T-O-N.
That's your dad's name too, right? You just said that.
My dad is Bobby. Bobby. It's really his name, Bobby Brown, but it's Bobby Burton Brown.
Wow. It was his
Cool.
prerogative to give you that.
His prerogative to give
No further questions. No further questions.
I guess.
Okay.
I guess. You get Keegan back tonight, and no Davion. Just how limited is Keegan, and how much have you needed him? Because it just seems like he's that missing piece along the wing you guys have been missing.
I've said this before, any of our guys, we don't want them to be out, and you need all of them, obviously. Keegan and the growth that he's had so far, he's been really instrumental in what we've done as an organization, as a ball club, and so to miss him is tough, but again, I'm a firm believer in next man up, and our guys have been trying to do that. Nobody's said anything to me about minute restrictions or anything like that, so I just plan to play him as I see fit.
Basketball questions feel boring at this point, but Mike Malone has a lot of supporters and a lot of fans here in Sacramento. I'm just curious your perspective on his career and what he's done there in Denver, finally winning his first championship last year, and just if you learn or take anything from his style of coaching.
Yeah, no, we worked together. I don't know how many years. I hired him in Cleveland as one of my assistants, and he was one of my assistants, I think, all 5 years there. And I almost hired him when I went to the Lakers, and so I got a lot of respect for him. One of the hardest workers I've been around. Extremely detailed, knows his stuff. It's intense. Wants to win. Having said that, he's a very good coach, and from afar, you look at a situation in Denver, and you hope that it speaks volumes to everybody around the league, because here it is, a guy that went to Denver, and if you look at his record, his first 3 years, I don't even know if they made the playoffs his first 3 years. And then, after that, it was a slow climb, and it wasn't always like this. But yet and still, you got to give the ownership group there a ton of credit. I don't know the Cronkies at all. I'm not even sure if I'm saying the last name correctly. But for them to sit there and have some patience and let Mike do whatever he did to help that organization attain the championship 8 years later, that's unheard of in our business. It speaks volumes, and you hope that the people recognize it, because he's a hell of a coach that was in the right situation and got a fantastic opportunity by the Cronkies in Denver. Took advantage of it.
Coach Brown, Sasha Vinskov, is he becoming one of your better defenders now? Is because it seems like he's understanding schemes and stuff like that, and where to be and tendencies for opposing teams. But I know you talked the other day about your team's probably about 85% there being on defense. But where does he fit in at that? Because it seems like he's learning a lot and he's picking up on it on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. He's very smart. He's got a great feel. He's strong. He's physical. He's willing to stick his nose in. If you say, hey, go guard Kyrie or go guard Paul George, it's going to be a little tough, because he doesn't have the foot quickness to stay in front of those types of guys like a Jaden McDaniel kid from Minnesota. Like, he's a really, really, really good defender. He's a high-level defender, And now, because Sasha is those things, he's intelligent. He's got a good feel. He's willing to stick his nose in, physical. He's working his tail off to learn our schemes and trying to learn the league. He's got a chance to be a really good team defender. And at the end of the day, it comes down to him and the rest of our group executing what our coverages are, understanding that it's 5 guys guarding the basketball, not just 1 guy guarding the basketball, doing your work early, all those little things. And if that can happen, then there's a chance that defensively he can be pretty good on that end of the floor. But I'm not ready to sit here and proclaim that he's one of our top defenders right now, because I'm not quite sure who is when we go from game to game. But he's definitely trending in the right direction.
Coach, Denver obviously have some amazing individual players, but as a team, and specifically in the matchup against the Kings, what are the biggest challenges that they offer you, and how do you plan on dealing with them?
Well, they had the MVP, and multi-time MVP, and he's 7 feet or whatever he is. That's probably the biggest challenge that not only we face, but everybody else faces, because he's hard to match up with. And when you send a double team to him, he's big enough to see over the top of the double team and make the right pass. He's talented enough to beat you by making the right pass. And so you start there, and then you go to their length. They have a lot of length, not just with him, but you're talking about Aaron Gordon, who's 6'10" or whatever he is, Porter Jr., who's 6'10" or whatever he is, KCP, who's just as long and athletic as any 2-guard in the league, and then Jamal Murray, who's a big point guard. That's a big team. And Tim Connolly from the Timberwolves did a great job putting that team together. When you're talking about the direction of the NBA going to length and size, and all the length and size that he has, it just fits. It comes together mainly because of Jokic. And then obviously Mike Malone's doing a fantastic job with those guys. And so when you have a team that's big like that, they can run plays, and guys like Porter can shoot over most small forwards because he's 6'10", 6'11". You got 3 guys that are 6'10" or bigger that are crashing the offensive glass. They just pose a lot of problems with their size and their length. And it's kind of funny because Tim left there and he's trying to do the same thing up in Minnesota. Everybody on that team is freaking huge, and size in our game, especially with the talent of the size that is out there nowadays, can cause a lot of problems.
Mike, what's been your assessment of Trey Lyles at the 5? And when you're deciding between him and a JaVale McGee, for example, what specifically are you looking for to either go smaller or go with the traditional center?
It's still early in the season, and I still want to give JaVale and Alex both an opportunity at that backup center. We know that we've been able to play Trey at the backup 5. We did it some last year. I'm just not ready to give anybody a steady diet of it because it's still fairly early. But the biggest difference is if I don't feel like that second unit has a rhythm offensively and or defensively, then I'll, hey, let's change it up. Let's go with Trey at the 5, see if we can open up the game a little bit and play a little faster, open up the floor a little bit so Malik and Foxy and whoever else is on the floor can get downhill, and see if we can cause their center some headaches, their opposing center some headaches, because now they got to switch. They got to guard these guys off the dribble that I just mentioned, and or they got to try to get back to Trey and or Sasha, whoever's at the 5 picking and popping. So it's just right now the feel or flow of the game that we have that would make me go to that.
Hi, Mike. I'm curious what you're seeing with Domas in terms of like his ability to like dominate or not necessarily be as dominant against like certain body types and bigger centers, leaner, slimmer centers. Like what are you seeing there, and what can he do, against maybe some of the bigger guys to continue to be as effective as he usually is?
Well, it's kind of catch-22 because there are guys out there that are bigger than him that he does a really good job against. I don't know if I'd say anybody dominates anybody in this league. and, you know, guys are really talented, guys do have nights, and Domus has had plenty of nights for us, and will continue to have plenty of nights for us, but, you know, again, you know, you look at a guy like Gobert, he plays well against Gobert, and Gobert's 7-1, you know. You look at a guy like, maybe like Looney, and Looney might be the same size or shorter, and, you know, he struggled a little bit in the playoffs against him, so I don't know if it's just quote unquote bigger guys, sometimes it's a matchup, sometimes it's us, you know, and one of the things that, is not to his advantage is if we don't get the ball reversed. On offense, if we just try to score on the front side, meaning that if we just try to play pick and roll, or if we try to play the DHO game without reversing the ball, then everybody on the defense is already set to help out, shrink the floor. The big doesn't have to move at all, so now when Domus catches in the pocket, the big is waiting on him. You know what I'm saying? Where the ball goes side to side, the big's gotta help out a little bit, now it comes back, now you run a DHO, now you run a pick and roll. And if the floor is spread correctly, the big's gotta slide over to him.